Confined spaces are one of the most high-risk jobs in any oil and gas industries. Anywhere in the site, you will be finding in confined space. So understanding confined space is most important aspect. Also, there are so many things that we almost neglect in confined space. So we'll be discussing each and every aspects about the confined space and the most neglected issues in confined space. So we all assume that atmospheric testing only one time is required for confined space. But that is not the case. Let us discuss why. The truth is, conditions in the confined space can change very fast. Gases like H2S and CO can even leak and enter into the confined space. The oxygen can drop very unexpectedly. So continuous monitoring of confined space is required. And also atmospheric gas testing. The tester that you can see here, you would have already used this many times, and as a safety professional you must know how to use this gas testing. This gas tester has to be used every time for confined spaces. Atmospheric ventilation. Now a lot of people assume that natural ventilation is enough, but that is not the case. If you are relying only on natural ventilation for confined spaces, it might be a risky shot. Let us understand why. So when you are actually looking into the normal ventilation, there might be toxic gases like carbon monoxide and volatile organic compounds that can build up in the confined space. So proper ventilation is required. Without proper ventilation, there might be also oxygen deficiency inside it. So what you have to do, you can give mechanical ventilation by using blowers or exhaust fans. So your blowers and exhaust fans will keep the air moving always. And also you can also use venturies. Venturies can help the flow of air, and the air flow has to be maintained. Now, proper attendee is required. Most of the time, this hole watcher assume that their work is very simple. They are watching the hole or the confined space, and they are normally standing out. But this is a very high risk job. This is not a child's play. When you are standing outside the confined space, when you are a confined space attendant, actually the job is very risky. You have to have a proper communication. आप हमेशा अंदर में जो confined space के अंदर जो काम करते हैं उनसे proper communicate करना चाहिए. You should have a proper logbook. How many people have entered the confined space and how many people are working there? How many people have come out of the confined space? And by no way you should ever enter the confined space if there is any kind of emergency. This is most important rule. This is most neglected also. Because हमेशा कुछ भी emergency आएंगे जो attendant है अंदर घुसेगा. You should never ever enter the confined space in any case. Because the person who is standing outside, his job is to call the rescue personnel or emergency response team whenever there is an emergency. He is not supposed to enter inside because he is not trained for that. Even he is trained for that, his job is not that. So these small things, you must always be very careful while working with confined space. Now, most of the time, confined spaces would not be having a proper emergency rescue plan. So you must understand why. So whenever an emergency happens, every second is important. एक second emergency में important है. तो एकदम planning से आपको emergency planning होना चाहिए. So in that, what is neglected is that firefighters हमेशा जो भी rescue आएंगे, firefighters सब कुछ handle करेंगे, कोई भी training का जरूरत नहीं है, कोई tripod से हम rescue करेंगे. So these are all not possible. So what you should have is that a proper rescue drill should be there, both for entry people and for non-entry people. हमेशा आप train करो workers को for that. A trained confined space rescue team हमेशा आपके पास होना चाहिए. Always retrieval system आपके पास होना चाहिए. All these things can help you for a proper emergency rescue plan for the confined space. हमेशा PPE is very important, we all know. But in confined space, not all PPE would work as same as that of in normal atmospheric condition. So let us understand what kind of PPE you have to use in confined space. See, all these things are not usually discussed while talking about confined spaces. So that is why we are emphasizing all these things. So you must understand air purifying respirators will not work in oxygen deficient spaces. In confined spaces we have oxygen deficient space. So this air purifying respirator यहाँ पर काम नहीं करेंगे. तो हमेशा स्काबा सेल्फ कंटेन्ड ब्रीथिंग apparatus आपको इस्तेमाल करना चाहिए. आपको इंट्रिंसिकली सेफ इक्विपमेंट फ्लेमेबल एटमॉस्फेयर में इस्तेमाल करना चाहिए. फुल बॉडी हार्नेस आपको इस्तेमाल करना चाहिए confined space में. So summarizing these three aspects, you always use SCABA or self supplied air respirators in low oxygen area. Ensure all equipments is intrinsically safe. Electrical equipments are intrinsically safe. Always wear a full body harness for easy retrieval system. Confined space permits will overcome all these things that we have discussed. But normally what happens is that this confined space permits को paper हम माना जाता है. They are treated as normal paperwork. So this has to be stopped. What you have to do? Proper permit लेना चाहिए, proper time में permit update करना चाहिए, risk assessment properly करके ही permit में update करना चाहिए, air testing properly करके every time you have to update in the permit. Permit has to be treated in a critical way so that you can overcome all these obstacles that we have discussed in confined space. Gas detectors confined space में always we are using to check the level of gas, oxygen, carbon monoxide, H2S, etc. And you know how to use the gas detector. But often in confined space, we are neglecting one of the most important things. हम bum test नहीं करते हैं. We are assuming that the gas detector is calibrated. Even we don't know whether the gas detector is properly charged or not. So as a safety professional, all these things you can check at site. All these practical considerations are very important. So what you have to do is that you have to do the bum test every day before the use. You have to calibrate as per manufacturer's guidelines the gas detectors that you are using and ensure that आपका battery gas detector में fully charged है. This is very important. Now even if you have done all these things correctly, if you have good permit system, if you have done the bum test, if you have all the good supervisors, if you have done the ventilation properly, but one thing can again make all the mistakes. That is workers' behavior. The behavioral aspect of the people working inside the confined space. This is a vital, most significant aspect that you must have to understand. Because people can make mistakes. People's behavior can change. Even the people, if they want to work in safe way, yet people are not fit for that. अगर उनमें स्ट्रेस आ गया, अगर उनमें टेंशन्स आ गया, अगर उनमें फैटिग आ गया, then that can result into accidents inside the confined space. So this factor is also important which you must have to consider in the confined space, which normally in our trainings we ignore. So workers confined space के अंदर shortcuts लेंगे. We will not know what kind of job they are doing inside the confined space. Supervisor सोचेंगे कि सब कुछ ठीक चल रहा है. So what you have to do is that you have to train workers on behavioral safety. You have to watch signs of fatigue or stress. अगर कोई stress वाला symbol workers में आ रहा है कि नहीं, we have to check that. We have to also have that peer-to-peer accountabilities. After all, safety is a teamwork. Confined space safety is not just rules. It is a mindset that you have to follow. Even experienced safety professionals can overlook all the aspects that we have mentioned here. जो भी aspect हम यहाँ पर ये वीडियो पर डिस्कस किया है, these are all significant important issues that you must remember while you are working inside the confined space as a safety professional, while you are inspecting the confined spaces. Because in normal textbooks में हम describe करेंगे what are the three characteristics of confined space, what is in confined space, entrant, entry, etc. normal चीज़ हम discuss करेंगे. लेकिन ये जो minute चीज़ हम यहाँ पर discuss किया है, these are all very important aspect जो normally हम trainings में overlook करते हैं, हम trainings में ignore करते हैं. So that is why we have discussed here. Thank you.